Curate and the Stockbroker by Algernon Blackwood. A good many years ago, when Barry's play Mary Rose was the talk of the town, a girl disappears in that play, you might remember. She just vanishes from the face of the earth. London was full of talk about theories of disappearance. I remember them well. I think the most popular one was the question of higher space. That is, that there is another dimension of space, at right angles to the three we know, and you slip into it. Well, you just vanish. You disappear. Well now, this is what happened to the curate and the stockbroker. It happened at a country house in Kent. There was a large weekend party of some kind, a lot of people. It rained a great deal on Friday and Saturday, but Sunday it got better. And the clouds lifting a bit, the stockbroker and the curate thought they'd get some exercise, so they went out for a tramp. I don't think they had much in common to talk about, but they got their exercise, and on the way back a short cut tempted them. It was across a great turnip field, but it would save half a mile. Well, they started off in single file. In the distance they could see the lights in the windows of the house, and tea. It was a misty autumn evening, and dusk was falling. They started ploughing across the heavy wet turnip leaves, and a third of the way over somebody called out behind them, "Come with me." But when the curate, who was walking behind, turned to see who had spoken, there wasn't anybody there. No one. And there wasn't cover enough even to hide a dog. His companion, oddly enough, hadn't heard the voice. They stomped on together. But the curate was puzzled. He was more than puzzled. He was an ardent, sincere type of chap, and felt uneasy. No echo could explain the sound. Why hadn't his companion heard the call? That "come with me" disturbed him. It seemed addressed to himself, he thought. He didn't like it. Nor did he like a curious cold that was creeping through the atmosphere, in spite of the heat of his body from the exercise. And he knew that voice would come again. It did, louder than before. "Come with me." He stopped dead. And again his companion hadn't heard it. He wanted his tea and dry clothes. He was tired, too. "It's the noise of our boots against the leaves, the heavy wet leaves. Come along, damn it, man, let's go home." They went on in silence. The curate's uneasiness had deepened. A dreadful fear was growing over him. He was scared in his bones. He couldn't explain it, and that made it worse. But he felt that when the voice came again, and he was sure it would, something awful, something appalling would happen. He was ready, listening attentively, ready to turn on the instant, and just 50 yards later it came, close against the back of his head, against his very neck, much louder, like a command, a summons, a dreadful note of authority in it. "Come with me." He was round on the instant, staring over the great turnip field. No one was visible. And then he turned back to his companion, and his heart missed a beat. His companion wasn't behind him. He wasn't there. His pipe, with smoke still curling up, lay quietly on a big turnip leaf. But the man who had been puffing it a moment ago had disappeared. No trace of that unfortunate stockbroker was ever seen again from that day to this.